What's going on, everybody? I hate having my time wasted, so I'm not gonna waste yours. We're just gonna jump right into today's topic, which is perspective. So let's start a new layer here. This is like my practice every day. I just try and do like 2 to 3 sketches from reference of like not the whole picture, just basic shapes of the person, just to keep me in shape, you know? But perspective, what is perspective? It's basically how things look and appear in space from a certain angle. So there's 3 things you need to know when drawing in perspective. The first is your horizon line. So if you have a picture, the best way to think about horizon line is where your sky meets the ground. And then you could put like, we'll put some mountains back here, birds. So things disappear as they go over that horizon line. So things in the foreground might be very big. There's a guy with his hand in the camera. But then like you wouldn't even be able to see a guy back here because he's very far away. Your second thing is your what's the second thing? You got horizon line, you got vanishing points, but before that, eye level. Your eye level is your next important thing. So eye level, think about eye level as like where you're looking at the horizon from. Like, are you high up? Are you looking down on your object? Or are you looking up at your object? Basically, like they call it bird's eye view and worm eye view. So if I was looking up, like at my object, it'd be kind of tiny up here, but very large down here. And so my eye would be looking up. And so we know my eye level is around down here somewhere. And then if I was looking down on an object to try and figure out, it would be something like this here. And let's make it more extreme so it's easier to see. So you get that viewpoint, your eye level, you're very high up. So you have a very high viewpoint. So something important I forgot to mention. I thought about it while I was editing. When it comes to, here. Put a picture over here. Picture over here. We'll do worm eye view here. And a bird's eye here. So for my horizon line, if I were to draw a horizon line in this picture somewhere and had to choose where it was going to be, over here, my horizon line is going to be very low. Ooh. There we go. Very low. And then over here, on the opposite side of this, my horizon line is going to be very high, like off the screen. And those are 2 important things to think about when you want to figure out the angle of your perspective. Like if you want your eye level to be low, your horizon line should be even lower. You want your perspective to be high, your horizon line should be even higher. All right, back to the video. Third thing is the vanishing point. So the vanishing point is just where all parallel lines in your image converge. So you can see like this one that I drew here, all these lines, let's see. All these lines, if we followed them, where they intersect, that's your vanishing point. Same thing here. And you can see how accurate, because you can see that one doesn't really match. So it should be more like that. And my vanishing point would be down here. And now I just fix my perspective. So one thing to keep in mind about your vanishing points is that the distance from your object that you're drawing is gonna determine like how distorted or how normal your object looks. Let's say we just have a cube here. If I were to try and draw the vanishing point for this cube, it would be very far away because the parallels on it go very far back. So that's about, and that's still a little off, but our vanishing point is like back here somewhere. Whereas if I drew a cube and it was, let's see, very distorted, kind of like, what do I want to do? Let's see, something like this. So actually, let's do something like this. We'll have to do 2 vanishing points just so you get the idea. Structurally, it doesn't look like a cube, but it is a cube, and we can read it as cubes, and we can know that because, as a cube, because when we draw our vanishing points, they're a lot closer. And you see, the more vanishing points you add, the more distorted things begin to look. So this is 2-point perspective. Everything else I've been drawing is 1-point perspective. So I'll show you different examples here. Basically, we'll start simple. So 1-point perspective is just like it sounds. You have your horizon line, vanishing point, and then we're just gonna make some lines. Everything radiates from here. And so the best way to think about it is as anything moves closer to your vanishing point, it's gonna appear flatter. Like if I put a box right in front of my vanishing point, it's just a box, or it's just a square. It looks very 2D. But now say I come over here and draw that same box. For it to be properly depicted in the plane, its side angles have to follow these lines towards the vanishing point. Same thing if I draw a box over here, but it's below. Those lines that give it dimension and depth have to follow your vanishing point. Straight in the middle, even in the middle like that. You just follow your vanishing point. So now that's 1 point. So one other thing I forgot to mention that will make all of this moving forward a lot easier, and it applies to all the perspectives, 1, 2, 3 point, doesn't matter. Think of this, like I said, like a grid, obviously, but you got 4 sections. Anything in this section has to follow this line up here. Anything in this section has to follow this line up here. So if I draw a box over here, it has to follow these parallels. That's just the way that works. Like, it's physics. Same thing down here in this section, and then same thing over here in this section. One other point I didn't mention, when it comes to 1 point perspective, 2 point, yada yada, doesn't matter. Another way to look at this, obviously, things that are closer to the horizon are farther away. So you should keep in mind, like, something that you draw back here. I'm sorry. That should be like that. Something that you draw back here like this. Ooh, I got too much going on here. Just a minute. Something that you draw back here should be a lot smaller than something that you draw over here, because you're also representing depth, and so it might cover that and we might not be able to even see that whole thing. Just some other things to keep in mind. All right, back to the main point. If you want to take it up a notch, you're gonna do 2-point perspective. So we can put our horizon line, vanishing point, draw some lines. Now here, I can't just draw. If I draw anything on this side of this vanishing point, matter of fact here, let me pull these out this way. If I draw anything on this side of this vanishing point, that vanishing point over there isn't gonna really affect it, because notice these lines are going in the same direction. And that's so far away that it has no influence on what's going on over here. But to draw what's going on over here, I did not like that box. Let's bring it down here. We have these lines converging in that direction. And these lines converging in that direction. And so if I drew something floating in the sky up here, same kind of thing. Or if you were standing above something, same kind of thing. So that's 2-point perspective. So what is 3-point perspective? It's 3 vanishing points, and they basically keep going up. If you never make it past, like, if you spend, you can spend. The crazy thing about vanishing points is you can do all your drawing in 1-point perspective, make phenomenal art. You can do all your drawing in 2-point perspective, make phenomenal art. Like, you never have to move past 3-point perspective to make crazy art. It's just when you want to go ahead and make those crazy extreme poses that you see people do where the camera looks like fisheye lenses and things like that, you have to start understanding these kind of viewpoints. Or when you see, like, I don't know, Superman or Omni-Man or somebody standing up above a city and they're looking down, that's when these type of things become very important. Or like sidewalk with chalk art, like, that's all 3-point perspective. So here, let's see, our horizon line is here, and this third line is what's gonna give us the illusion of depth. So we're gonna have our lines are radiating out from here, our lines radiating out from here, and then you have these lines as well radiating out from here. And you can already kind of start to see it, like in the pyramid, but to exaggerate. So let's switch back. if I have a box right here at eye level, number one, I gotta draw these lines so it makes more sense. So number one, your box is gonna start disappearing towards this horizon line over here, right? So this is gonna be angled in this direction. But this line has to start going up in this direction towards this vanishing point. Same thing here. This line has to start going that way. This line here, you're following. And this line here. And so this is supposed to be a cube, but now it's starting to get distorted and it looks like it's in a fisheye lens. And that's because we've added that third perspective of depth, and all these horizon lines, or all these vanishing points are very close together. And so that's why it makes sense. I'll draw another one. You start spreading them out. Same thing here. Oh, no. So there you go. And then to confirm your drawing in 3-point perspective, or oops. So if I follow these lines here, it would hit my vanishing point. It would hit my vanishing point. It would hit my vanishing point, and it would hit my vanishing point. Same thing here. It would hit my vanishing point, and it would hit my vanishing point. This is the most you'll ever need if you don't want to get super crazy. There is 4-point perspective, there's 5-point perspective, and there's people that say they figured out 6-point perspective, which should exist like in theory, but I still have not seen it executed like properly to me. And it's something I toy with just like when I'm bored and I'm trying to feel like, you know, developing my style and like working on something extremely crazy. I go mess with 6-point perspective. I might cover 4-point and 5-point if that's something people want to see. Not too sure. Like this here takes a minute to wrap your head around. So some good exercises to try and do it. Start with a point. Draw you a little X. And then from there, kind of double it. Let me make that better. Here. You know what? So we're gonna do this. No pressure. So in Photoshop, if you just hold a button and then hold shift after you, it'll draw a perfect line every time. And then we'll put one here. Nope. We'll go this way. There we go. Alright, and this is your 1-point perspective grid, and just practice. Start with a box in the middle. And then go a little bit farther over. and then just draw your boxes. And come down here, same kind of thing, just draw a few boxes. And then come up here and just draw random boxes that follow your perspective lines. And then once you've gotten good at 1 point, move on to 2 point. That's the basics, basically. Stick with 1 point for now, and then move on to 2 point when you're comfortable, and move on to 3 point, and that's it. So you have any questions, you know where to find me. Don't hesitate to ask, and I will make sure that I help you out. In the next video, I think we're gonna talk about color theory, because I'm just trying to give you the core fundamentals of art. Like, it boils down to a lot of practice, honestly, but I just want to give you like a brief overview of everything that's important to make your art better. So next time we'll talk about color theory. Thank you for watching.